Hello friends, welcome to How to Valen channel. This is DBA Valen Stream. Today in this video, we will see a quick introduction to Oracle's identity column, which was a new feature introduced from 12.1 or 12c. So what is this identity column? I have seen this in SQL Server where you don't necessarily need to create a sequence and then call that as a default value for primary key and so on. When you identify a column as an identity column, automatically Oracle creates a sequence internally and assigns that sequence to the column which you called it as or identified as an identity column, which ideally means that it's an incrementally changing a column with following a sequence pattern. It's not going to have a repeating number. Okay, let's see how this works really in 12.102. All right, so I have my partitions already open. All right, and this is our lab exercise. So objective is to introduce Oracle identity column feature, and this is the reference URL. All right, you can see here this is the reference document which talks about the views which is related to the identity column, and then we'll actually go ahead and create the table. This is a real quick intro, so I'll just really go ahead and create a table, show you how this will look. So let's set some formats. I may just set up something so it's easy for you to follow me. Some formatting strings. Okay, let's create this table. All right, it's already been used. Fine, let me drop the table. The one which I already have. Let's create the table. The table is created. And you can see there are two columns in it, but I'm inserting value for only one. But we are going to have the app user ID also populated. You see, this is an identity column. You can see app user ID is a number column and it is an identity column. It is generated always. So which means that it is always generated as identity with the min value of 1, max value of 10,000, increment by 1 and with a cache of 10, start with 1. Alright. So let's check if I can see the sequence that was by default built by Oracle. You can see here, this is the default sequence which Oracle created for this identity column. Alright, so if you just go search, you can see here, this is the only sequence available in this database or in this schema. So it is easy to map. The only table that we created, which is obviously by default Oracle will create a sequence is this identity column. So we know we can associate it, but if not, how will I identify? This is the view. This is the user tab identity calls. This is the view you can refer to. Okay, how else I can identify? Just look for the object ID of the table. See, the object ID of the table is 73532. You can see here 73532 is appended to the I sequence $$ this one. So this is how we identify the identity sequence as well. Let's now try insert some test records and see how the identity column behaves. Column ID behaves. I didn't insert any diff value and you can see this is a not null value. So I cannot leave this field empty. I should be inserting some value, but it accepted it. Alright, so let's see the values in this table. Only one record with the value 1. And how does the sequence looks? We have already used the first value. So it has a cache size of 10, increment by 1. See, the last number became 11. Earlier the last number was 1. So as soon as we consumed number 1, it allocated a 10 more numbers. So it became 11 now. So this is how it works. and I hope you understood what this identity column really means now. I'll just leave you with one puzzle. Say, if I do a CTAS of this table, normally we do in Oracle, right? Say create table, app user, table 2, as select start from app user table, what happens? Let's see. If I do this, will it copy my identity column definition? Let's see that. I've created this. Now let's look at the detail of this table, okay? You can see here, create table, app user ID. It doesn't say it's an identity column at all. It just says not null constraint and that is enabled. And let's see if there is any additional sequences created. None. There is no sequence created. Let us examine if this one at least has anything to say. It's app user table 2, isn't it? So let's see. None. So which means that when you do a CETA SANA identity column, it doesn't create a table with identity column. It just keeps that. So it loses a structural definition. Now let's see the. I just showed you the table definition for table 2. I never showed you for table, right? The original table. You can see here in the definition the identity column is there. You can see here, right? App user ID generated always as identity. But you see app user ID doesn't have the generated as identity. So this is a, I mean, this is one just for puzzle I discovered because I had to operate on one of the table which has an identity column. So that's when I was trying to create a table out of it, and then I figured out that there's such a challenge is there. So there are three options in identity column. One, you give the value and identity column doesn't generate it. You can suppress that. There is one option for it. And the other option, you cannot give the value at all. Oracle only will generate a value for this column. So you have to skip that value by default. The other option is a mixed kind of scenario. If you don't supply, Oracle will generate it. If you supply, Oracle will not generate it. So these are the three different scenarios. So you have two options. You just imagine. One, you either you supply or Oracle supplies. That's all. The combination of these two alone forms these three scenarios. One, Oracle alone supplies. Second, uh, you supply, Oracle doesn't supply. Third, if you do not supply, Oracle supplies it. Alright. Okay. So there is documentation about this as well. If I go here, you can go look at this documents. You can see generated always as identity. Sequence generator always supplies an identity. You cannot specify a value. Sequence generator supplies identity value anytime you do not supply a common value. So if you do not supply, it supplies it. So sequence number supplies the next identity value. If you specify a null, so you explicitly specify a null on the column value. This is how it works. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining with me. But just wanted to call out this. This is for NoSQL database guys, but does I think it does apply to Oracle as well. Just a call out. Thanks for joining with me. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to How to Learn channel. We'll meet you in the other video. Thank you. Bye.